The birdsong. That was the first sound Charles heard every morning. Not the shrill shriek of an alarm clock, not the city's roar, but the clear, gentle song of a sparrow perched on the oak tree outside his window. A little over a year ago, he would wake up with a knot in his stomach and a head as taut as a violin string, always ready for the day's battle. Now, he opens his eyes to a feeling of relief, a soft ray of morning light falling directly onto his bed, like a gentle greeting from the world outside. Charles was once a man of numbers, contracts, and urgent meetings. He built an empire in financial consulting, a world where time was gold and every second had to be filled with something useful. He was proud of it. He believed that living fast and being productive were the true measures of a successful life. Every morning, he would wake at 5 a.m., check his emails, drink a hot cup of coffee, and make a list of his top 10 priorities for the day. He loved the rush of adrenaline that surged through his body, the feeling of conquering one task after another. He was a master of his time. But what happens when time is all you have left? After he retired, everything that defined him fell apart. Suddenly he had all the time in the world. His once dense work calendar was now just a blank page, staring back at him. Morning coffee was no longer a quick fuel-up, and the news wasn't urgent anymore. A profound sense of loss and emptiness washed over him. He tried to fill the void with endless TV marathons and long, meandering phone calls with old friends, but the emptiness inside him only grew, like a shadow stretching across his days. One morning he woke up feeling utterly miserable. He had nothing to do, no one to see, nothing to chase. Everyone told him to enjoy life, but he didn't even know how. What did that even mean? Then, a chance encounter changed everything. He ran into David, an old friend from his past. David had left his high-flying law career years ago and moved to a quiet seaside town. He looked completely different. His skin was tan from the sun, his eyes were full of a deep, settled peace, and a constant, easy smile played on his face. David talked about something Charles couldn't quite grasp: living a slow life. He spoke of cherishing the small, seemingly insignificant things, of how time isn't something to be filled, but something to be felt. Charles initially laughed at the idea. He had spent his entire life cramming every second with productivity. How could he possibly learn to do nothing? But David's words, and the genuine peace he radiated, echoed in his mind long after they parted ways. A few days later, shrouded in that familiar morning gloom, Charles decided to try. Just for a day. That morning, he woke up but didn't turn on the TV. He felt antsy, his hands itching to grab his phone, but he resisted the urge. Instead, he went out onto his porch, sat on an old wooden chair, and just listened. For the first time, he realized that silence wasn't emptiness. It was a symphony of small, beautiful sounds. The wind rustling through the leaves, the distinct chirp of a small bird hopping from branch to branch, the gentle whir of a bicycle passing in the distance. He closed his eyes and took a deep, slow breath. He felt the clean morning air fill his lungs, and a soft breeze caress his face. When he opened his eyes, he saw a hummingbird, a tiny jewel of motion, sipping nectar from a rose. It hovered, darted, and then vanished. It all happened in just a few seconds, but it was a moment of pure, breathtaking beauty. A moment he would have completely missed if he had been rushing. From that day on, Charles started a new ritual. Every morning he would wake up, brew a pot of tea, and go out onto the porch. He didn't rush to finish it. He savored it slowly. He felt the warmth of the cup in his hands and inhaled the fragrant aroma of the tea leaves. He started writing in a journal, but this wasn't a to-do list. It was a to-feel list. He wrote down what he felt, what he observed. Today, a butterfly landed on my windowsill. It wasn't in a hurry. It was simply there. Another day. Today I saw a dewdrop on a rose petal. It sparkled like a tiny diamond in the sun. He began to explore his own garden, a space he had lived with for over 10 years but had never truly seen. He learned to tend to the plants, to pull weeds not as a chore, but as an act of care to cultivate the soil. He discovered that the garden wasn't just a piece of property. It was a living, breathing friend. Every plant, every flower had its own rhythm, its own story. He talked to them, he nurtured them, and they responded with vibrant, joyful growth. Charles's transformation didn't stop at the garden gate. It began to mend his relationship with his daughter, Sarah. In the past, every one of her calls felt like an interruption. He'd listen, but his mind would be buzzing with numbers, deadlines, and deals. Now, When Sarah visited, he gave her his full, undivided attention. He truly listened to her stories about her work, her life, the challenges she faced. He didn't offer quick solutions or unsolicited advice. He simply listened, creating a space for her to just be. One morning, when Sarah brought him a cup of tea on the porch, she was surprised to find him so captivated by the world around him. He pointed to a small bird's nest in the oak tree. He told her how the parent birds took turns feeding their young, describing the hungry, insistent chirps of the baby birds. In that moment, watching him, Sarah started to cry. Softly, she said she had never seen him so genuinely happy. Charles had learned the most profound lesson of his life. Life isn't a race to be won, but a garden to be tended. He no longer lived to fill time, but to feel every moment within it. He finally understood that happiness isn't found in grand achievements or material wealth, but in the small, simple wonders we so often overlook. It's in the morning birdsong, the glistening dewdrop on a flower, and the shared smile with his daughter. Now he wakes up every morning, and he no longer needs an alarm clock. He has the birds. And they don't sing to call him to work, they sing to remind him that he is finally home. Home with himself, with what truly matters, with the deep and lasting peace he had been searching for his entire life. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more content that explores the art of living well. We'll see you in the next one.